welcome. Welcome. Welcome to Las Vegas, everyone. District 33. I know you're going to have a great conference, but welcome to Las Vegas. Now, I grew up in Las Vegas. My parents were performers, and not too far away from here, a great entertainer used to perform. His name was Milton Berle. How many remember Milton Berle? Oh, good. I'm glad you remember. Well, Milton Berle was kind of a pioneer in television comedy. In fact, the comedy that you see today was all based on what Milton Berle did many, many years ago. But even before he started doing television comedy, he was on the radio, and then he was on something called vaudeville. Now, vaudeville was a lot of work. They did 5 shows a day, 7 days a week, sometimes weeks, months at a time without a break. And Milton Berle once said, work is a very unpopular way to make money. But that old concept that work should not be fun is archaic today. When we spend so much of our adult lives on the job, when we work overtime, go in early, work late, work weekends, why shouldn't we do something to make work fun? And I'm here today to tell you to put a little bit of humor in your work, find the fun in your work. And I would imagine that even Uncle Milty would agree with me that if you put some humor and fun into your work, work could be a very popular way to make money. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be a comedian like Milton Berle or Louis C.K. or Ellen DeGeneres or any of those comedians. You don't have to be a court jester or a class clown. You just have to find the fun and the humor in work, on the job. Hal Rosenbluth of Rosenbluth International once said, huge organization, he said that it is almost inhumane for companies to create a climate where people can't enjoy themselves. It is our role and responsibility as leaders and associates to create a place where people can have fun. I know our company's doing well, he said, when I walk around and hear people laughing. Now, does that mean we shouldn't take our job seriously? No. Do the best job you can possibly do, but have fun doing it. Find the humor in it, and you'll do a better job. And maybe it means we shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. You know, sometimes we take ourselves so seriously that people don't want to work with us. Sometimes when we get a title in front of our name or a few letters after our name, we become so self-important, we're so full of ourselves that we create a negative working environment. Now, when Debbie introduced me a minute ago, she introduced me as Accredited Speaker, AS after my name. How many actually know? You know where I'm going, right? Boy, I love it when a joke is, I haven't even touched the punchline and it's already getting a laugh. How many actually know what accredited speaker really means? A few people. Well, does that mean I'm not proud of it? I worked very hard to get that AS designation. But if I walk around this conference tonight and tomorrow and say, well, you know, I'm an AS. I'm an AS. Jesse over here is going to say, George, you can put another S after that. And then Debbie also introduced me as former president of Gilbert Productions. Wow, sounds impressive, doesn't it? President. Not when you find out my mother was chairman of the board. And my sister, vice president. Now you're thinking, big deal. That's just nepotism. Well, at Gilbert Productions, our motto is, nepotism was all right. As long as you keep it in the family. Now, being a family-owned and operated organization, as we were, it had its advantages and its disadvantages. The disadvantage is, if we were going through a tough time, who do I lay off? My sister? I don't think so. I tried that once. She went straight to the chairman of the board. Mom, Georgie's trying to get rid of me again. No, the advantage, though, is we didn't have to worry about hostile takeovers. No, I've never seen anybody could get more hostile than my mother. And if you don't believe me, ask my dad. He tried to take over once. It got hostile. Dad got demoted. His new title was Director of Domestic Refuse. Wasn't too upset Dad got that job. That used to be my job. I got Dad's job, President. But you see, I came up with the title of Director of Domestic Refuse because at one time I thought titles were very important. Especially when I was younger and I was dating and I wanted to impress a girl. And I'd ask her out, she'd say, "What do you do?" And I said, "Well, I work at Gilbert Productions." "Wow, that's cool. What do you do at Gilbert Productions?" "I take out the garbage." "Yeah, not so impressive." She said, "Call me when you're president." So I came up with the title Director of Domestic Refuse. Asked the girl out, she said, "What do you do?" I said, "I work at Gilbert Productions." She said, "Wow, that's nice. What do you do at Gilbert Productions?" "Well, I'm Director of Domestic Refuse." "Ooh," she said, "Director." I married that girl. Turned out she was just looking for somebody with experience. Because at home I still have to take out the garbage. And then after we got married, she gave me another title. Chief Engineer of Canine Waste Removal. So as you can see, titles don't mean too much to me. They're important, but it's more about us and about creating a working environment that's fun. Now, today's presentation is entitled From the Punchline to the Bottom Line, How Humor Can Affect Business in a Positive Way. And so today there are more and more companies that are actually understanding this, and more companies are incorporating humor into the workplace. Companies such as IBM, AT&T, General Electric, Southwest Airlines, and yes, even the IRS. Yeah, even the IRS. Now, I didn't believe it, but I tell you, when I got audited the other day, and he's looking at my tax forms, he started to laugh. "Oh, Mr. Gilbert, are you a comedian?" "Yes, I am." So even the IRS are incorporating humor in the workplace. But why is that? Well, I believe that humor can, 1, create a better working environment. 2, humor can improve employee loyalty to your company. 3, increase creativity and boost productivity. And 4, improve customer relations. And isn't that what we're all about? I mean, after all, we've joined this organization to become better communicators and better leaders. And if you want to grow your organization, how do you do it? Well, have fun doing it. Do the best job you can have. But find the humor in it. Make it fun, and you will grow your organization, whether it's inside this organization or outside in your businesses that you run. So, how can humor create a better working environment? Well, 1, laughter can help bring people closer together. There was a humorist named Victor Borge many years ago, and Victor Borge once said, "Laughter is the closest distance between two people." Think about that. Laughter is the closest distance between two people. Because when two people are laughing and sharing humor, doesn't that bring you closer together? So laughter helps bring people closer together. Laughter can enhance teamwork. When people are laughing, a group of people are laughing at something, you feel like you're part of a group. You feel like you're part of that team. And then laughter can create a bond. When we're laughing and we're in agreement, we're bonding with those people. So laughter can create a bond. So how does laughter create a bond? Well, 1, from employee to employee. Think about that. When you're working with people, don't you like to work with people that make you laugh? Aren't you drawn to those people? It makes a bond between the employee and the employee and the customer. This is important, because you want to make the customer feel good, employee and the customer, and then management and employee. Now, this is real important. Now, when Debbie introduced me, she introduced me as also president of Originally Speaking. My wife and I, or my ex-wife and I, in fact, I got to tell you a story. When we got divorced, she was trying to tell me to take out the garbage again. And I said, you can't do that. You are now a silent partner. Apparently, I didn't read the agreement. Because I still got to take out the garbage. Anyway, Dory used to work at a store not too far from here on Las Vegas Boulevard, a huge store called M&M's World. If you get a chance, go see it. It's 4 stories of everything M&M's, M&M Mars, all kinds of chocolate, candies, everything. Well, when Dory was there, she actually helped create the store, open it up. She was in charge of creating the cash room, the back of house, and also in charge of placing 100 employees every day on where they need to be. And so this one day, one of the employees was going to go to her cash register, and Dory called her over and said, I don't need you on a cash register today. I need you on balloon duty. Now, balloon duty is walking around these 4 stories trying to sell Mylar balloons with M&M characters on it. And the employee said, oh, I don't want to do balloon duty. It's the worst job in the store. And Dory said, well, why not? Why do you mean it's the worst job in the store? Well, she said, first of all, no one buys the balloons. Well, it's on Las Vegas Boulevard. They're Mylar balloons. You can't take them on the plane home, can't take them into the casinos, so nobody buys the balloons. But upper management wants them to sell the balloons, so that's their job. The second thing she said is the tourists ask such dumb questions, and it's kind of true. Dory came home one day, and she said, you won't believe what this tourist just asked me. Her badge says, Dory, New Jersey. The tourist said, do you commute from New Jersey every day to work here? True story. True story. For some reason, it seems that some of the tourists seem to check their bags and their brains in the hotel room and leave them there. And then if you watch the tourists, a lot of them are walking around with these yard-long margaritas. So they're in there having a good time, so they do ask some pretty dumb questions. But the third thing Dory heard was that the other employees tease you when you're on balloon duty. Well, Dory didn't want people to be teasing other employees there, but she didn't want to overreact to this. So she thought about it, and she started to smile and laugh. She said, let's have fun with this. First of all, remember, yes, they don't sell the balloons. And yes, the tourists ask such dumb questions. But you have to answer those questions sincerely. And you have to treat those customers special because, after all, this is more than just selling the balloons. This is a customer relations job, a public relations job to the customer. And you are representing our store. So you have to answer those questions sincerely and honestly and try to help those customers, even if they're dumb questions. And then let's have fun with this. Take a piece of paper and a pen. And when someone teases you about being on balloon duty, just write their name down in front of them on the piece of paper. And when they ask you why you just wrote their name down, you tell them that this is the balloon duty volunteer list. And they just signed up for balloon duty. She laughed and said, I can do that. So she grabbed the balloons and she went, and before she barely turned the corner, Dory heard that employee say, Dory, just want you to know Jessica has just volunteered for balloon duty next week. And heard that employee laugh. Now later that day, Dory went and saw her on one of the floors, and there weren't too many customers around, but some of the other employees, and so she made a point of walking up to that employee and said, you know, did I give you this job? Because you know this is a very important job. She wanted to make sure the other employees heard this. This is a PR job to the customer. I can only give my best employees this job. And they laughed. At the end of the day, after that employee clocked out, she made a point of finding Dory wherever she was in this huge store. And she walked up to her and she said, you know, I want to thank you. I had a great time today. Imagine that. That employee didn't want to do that job. She comes back and thanking her, and then she said, you're my favorite manager. You're the best manager I've ever had. So she got an employee to do a job that she didn't want to do, to enjoying it, and to thanking her for being such a great manager. That's what sharing humor and fun in the workplace can do. So when you create a bond, With humor, it can be very powerful. You can motivate people. Now, she could have been one of those bosses who said, that's your job, that's what I want you to do, get to work. But how do you think that would have worked? You think she'd have been nice to the other employees? No. Do you think that she would have been courteous to the customer? No. She would have been angry and would have taken that out on everybody around her. So find that humor and create that bond. So, improving employee loyalty to the company. Well, what do you think about that? Do you think that employee is now going to stay with that company longer because she's enjoying herself? Having fun? Absolutely. And why is that important? Well, today, the average turnover rate in business is 30%. 30%. Think about how much that costs a company to have to always replace those employees. But if you incorporate humor in the workplace, that can decrease down to 21% for turnover. And 38% decrease in Friday absenteeism. You know, think about that. Now, Harvey Mackay. Have you ever heard of Harvey Mackay? A couple people. He wrote, Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. Owner of Mackay Envelopes. Well, he incorporates humor into his business. And he says that his employees don't say, oh, thank God it's Friday. They say, thank God it's Monday. He motivates them to go to work because it's a fun working environment. So we need to do that. We need to create that fun. We not take ourselves too serious as leaders. Increase creativity and boost productivity. Job stress costs over $300 billion annually. That's an expensive cost. And what is stress? Well, did you know humor and laughter can reduce stress? In fact, they say physically you cannot be stressed out and laugh at the same time. It's true. It's true. Absolutely true. And when we do laugh, we produce endorphins in our system, which help us overcome that stress. So laughter is so vital, and yet we take it for granted. We do take it for granted, but laughter does reduce stress. 80% of workers feel stress on the job these days. I know I do. Of course, when you work with your mom and sister, you think that's stress, work with your ex-wife for a while. I may have the title president, but she's still the boss. 60 to 80% of accidents on the job are stress-related because when we're all stressed out, we're not thinking correctly. We're not doing our jobs properly because we're stressed out. We're not focusing on mistakes and things, and that's when accidents happen. So we want to reduce stress, use humor, and we'll be more productive and creative. So, in an article entitled They Who Laugh Last by Dr. Paul McGee said that 84% of vice presidents and HR managers say that employees with a sense of humor were more effective on the job. Of course they are. You're having fun. You're not stressed out. You're more creative. Aren't you more creative when you're fun and having fun and joking around? That's when the creative juices flow. We improve customer relations with humor. Now, employees having fun provide better customer service, just like I told you about the balloon duty person. It's important to smile. Smile is so important. Did you know that Sara Lee has their phone bank, the ones that take the customers' calls, they answer the phone with a smile? Because they say that you can hear that smile over the phone. And I've done some work with a lot of disc jockeys and talk radio personalities. And the ones that are really good, they actually say they smile when they're on the air. You hear that smile. You feel that energy coming through because they're smiling. So smile. Humor with the customer. So important. Humor with the customer. But it does improve customer relations, but you want to be careful using humor, especially with any aspect of work, but especially with the customer. You don't want to offend. You don't want to appear to laugh at. You want to laugh with. Give you another example. Before Dory had worked at M&M's World, she managed gourmet chocolate stores here in town called F&M Chocolates. She managed about... They're good, aren't they? Oh, yeah. They're all natural flavors, everything in those stores. Well, one day a customer came into Dory's store, and she was irate. She was angry. she was just screaming, and Dory was in the back, so she came out. How can I help you? What's the matter? And this customer was so mad, so angry. And she said, I bought this box of chocolates at one of your other stores. I won't even take it back to that store. I was so mad. Well, what happened was, it was an innocent mistake. The lady bought a box of chocolate-covered cherries, and she specifically asked that they be the ones without the liqueurs. Now, Ethel M sells chocolate-covered cherries with or without the liqueur. The liqueurs are good, too, by the way. Did you get some? Oh, yeah, Jesse knows. He's just hoping for strawberries. But anyway, so that's an innocent mistake. So why would this customer be so mad, so irate, that she wouldn't even go back to the other store for an innocent mistake? Because she took that box of chocolate-covered cherries with the liqueurs to her AA meeting. True story. Now, you got to see the humor in that. I mean, that sounds like a perfect scenario for an old Seinfeld, Friends, or today's Two Broke Girls, or whatever situation comedy. I mean, can't you just imagine that? Hi, I'm George Gilbert, and I'm an... Hey, those are pretty good. But the problem was, Dory saw the humor in that, but if she laughed, that would appear to be laughing at and not with. So she didn't laugh, even though she saw the humor in it. She apologized sincerely. She got her another box of chocolates without the liqueurs this time, even double-checked. Gave her some other chocolates, some samples and everything. Let her go on, and as I said, she listened and smiled. And at the end of that whole transaction, that customer just wanted someone to listen to her. And by the end of it, she started to see the humor in it. She goes, I guess that's kind of funny, isn't it? And Dory, a little bit of laugh, but not too much. She just wanted to appear laughing with and not at. So that's so important to do. Now, I'll give you another example. Humor should be inclusive, not exclusive also. Another customer came in one day, a young guy, and he came in and he said, I would like to buy a box of soft chocolates for my grandfather with no nuts. True story. You can't make this up. As soon as he said it, he turned red and started to laugh. And Dory laughed because they were laughing together. And he said, that's not what I meant. She said, I know what you meant. So be careful what you say because it can be funny and not sound right. So humor should be inclusive, not exclusive. Have you ever been to a store or something and the cashiers are laughing about a customer that had just gone before you? Doesn't that kind of make you feel weird? Insecure? Don't you wonder what they're going to be laughing about you after you leave? Well, see, that's where it's exclusive, and you want to make it inclusive. You don't want to be putting people down. If you want to build teamwork, it's got to be inclusive. So share humor with the customer, but make sure you don't offend. Make sure you're laughing with, not at, and make it inclusive, not exclusive. Now, I've come up with a theory, and I call it the tickle-down theory. Now, in the 80s, we had Reaganomics with the trickle-down theory. This is where the rich can help the poor and all this other stuff. I'm not getting into politics. I'm just calling this the tickle-down theory. And this is where humor, if it starts at the top, the head of the company, if you are a leader, whether you're the CEO or president, director of your group, president of your club, if you share humor, have a sense of humor, it can tickle down to management, tickle down to the employees, right down to the customer. Think about that. Creating a better working environment by sharing humor, having a sense of humor. Things go wrong, but if you can laugh about it, find the humor in it, you can overcome those things. But if you have that knee-jerk reaction, everybody gets all tense, gets all stressed out. So tickle down. Now, it doesn't have to start at the top, though. It can tickle its way up. You know, it can go all the way up to the top. So it doesn't matter where you are in this chain. If you share humor, have a sense of humor, make the work environment fun, you're going to create a better working environment. So the best company that I can give an example of that I feel incorporates a tickle-down theory is Southwest Airlines. Now, Southwest Airlines is a no-frills organization. And when they first started, Herb Kelleher helped co-found Southwest Airlines, and he was the CEO for over 30-plus years. And he had a sense of humor. When they first started, another airline company made fun of Southwest Airlines in a commercial. And it showed passengers getting on Southwest Airlines with paper bags over their head. And it said, "Are you embarrassed to fly Southwest Airlines? Come fly with us." Well, Herb Kelleher could have taken offense to that. But he capitalized on that with a sense of humor. He went on a commercial himself with a paper bag over his head. And he said, "I understand many of you are embarrassed to fly Southwest Airlines. We understand that at Southwest Airlines, and we would be happy to provide you with a free brown paper bag to put over your head." So Herb Kelleher has a sense of humor, and it tickles down to the management. You know, it tickles down to the employees, all the way to the customer. So, he creates a better working environment? Absolutely. He shares humor with the crew. He was known to go have drinks and cocktails with the crew after their flight. Not before, and share jokes and humor. He was also known to go hang out with the baggage handlers and help put the bags on the plane, sharing humor and jokes. That's what a leader does. And of course, he encourages his employees to have fun. Have you ever flown on a Southwest Airlines flight? George, I think you were on it one time, and you were going, when you were part of the District 3, if I'm not mistaken, and you were flying back and forth to Burbank quite a bit. If I'm not mistaken, I heard this story, and they had the same coffee all the time, every morning when they fly. And they got to know the crew. And one time, they walked up, I could be wrong, but one of Jerry Theo or somebody told me this. The crew walked up with their coffee, tripped. It was empty. But the joke was on them. Did that happen to you? Yeah. So they share humor with the customer, with the passengers. I just flew back from Baltimore last week, and they were doing a stand-up comedy routine. Instead of that old dry, you know, the emergency exits are here, just over and over again. Great joke they told. When they said, okay, in case of emergency, and if the oxygen masks come down, please place them over your mouth and nose. If you are traveling with a child, why? Place it over your face first and then the child. If you're traveling with two children, well, it's up to you to decide which is your favorite child. And they've been known to even rap it. The emergency exits are, I can't rap, but you get the idea. One did it to the theme of Gilligan's Island. True story. Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a 3-hour flight. Emergency exits are on the side, seats and trays upright. That is the first time I've ever gotten applause for singing. I can tell you that. Dad, you'd be proud of me. But they have fun with the customer. And that's what it's all about. So how does that happen? Well, it also employee loyalty. because they have so much fun on their job, the average turnover rate is under 5% at Southwest Airlines. Now, what did I say earlier? The average turnover rate across the country, 30%. 5% turnover rate. 5%. I was doing a speech one time. A lady came up to me and said, my son works for Southwest Airlines. He's a pilot. And I just talked to him the other day. I think it was like Mother's Day a couple of years ago. She said, you know, Mom, I just love my job. I can't imagine working anywhere else. So that humor and that fun, it trickles down, and the turnover rate's low. Increase productivity and creativity? Absolutely. Problem solving? One of the greatest problem solved I've ever heard was with Southwest Airlines. One time, many years ago, a company, another airline company, came up with the same slogan Southwest Airlines had at the same time. And these two companies were about to sue each other. And that was actually the other CEO who came up with the idea. He said, you know what? Let's have fun with this. Instead of going to court, let's get together and let's have a wrestling match for it, an arm wrestling match. Herb Kelleher said, I'm in. So they rented out an arena in Dallas. Absolutely. Flew in half of their employees from the one company, half the employees from the other company, and there they were in the middle, dueling it out, wrestling, arm wrestling for that opportunity. Now, Herb Kelleher lost. But did he? Think about the great press that they got. Think about that employee loyalty of their employees cheering their CEOs on. And think about how much money they saved not having to go to court and hiring all those lawyers and tying it up for years. And even though he lost, the other one said, you know, I had such a great time. We can both use the same slogan. So, very, very great in problem-solving humor can be used. More creative on the job. Is that creative on the job? I think so. More productivity? Yes. You know, we're talking about humor and fun, but it's only good if it's productive. Only good if it's productive. Well, Southwest Airlines has won the Triple Crown more than any other airline. And that's most on-time flights. Don't be late for Southwest Airlines. They do take on time. 2, best baggage handling. You pretty much don't have to worry that it happens, but you pretty much don't have to worry about losing your luggage on Southwest Airlines. Now, I do have to tell you another story. Before I met Dory, she and her mother were from New Jersey, as I said, and her grandmother had passed away. And so they were flying out with the ashes to meet her uncle out here to do kind of a ceremony. And they put the ashes in the urn in her mom's luggage. And when they got here in San Francisco, when they landed, they went to get their luggage, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there. It was gone. And so they went and they did. And they found out that that suitcase with her grandmother's ashes went to Hawaii. And my mother-in-law had to laugh. She said, well, you know, Nana always wanted to go to Hawaii. She finally got her wish. But that's not going to happen probably on Southwest Airlines. Fewest customer complaints. Well, you know, when the customers are laughing and having a good time, you think they're going to complain? No. They're having a good time. So that is what Southwest Airlines does. So improving customer relations, because Southwest employees enjoy their job and treat the customer better, they use humor with the customer, and so they provide a better working environment. Think about that. Take that into your clubs, and more importantly, take it out to the businesses that you work in to create that better working environment. Create employee loyalty. Be creative and productive with humor. And good customer relations. So important. It's so important. Southwest Airlines, bottom line, they've made a profit every year since 1973. So they're having fun, and yet they're making money. That's important, making money. Didn't have any layoffs after 9/11. So they know what they're doing. Now, here's something I want you to think about when you go back out to your company, your clubs. Fortune magazine a few years ago named J.M. Smuckers as one of the best companies to work for. One of the best companies to work for. Their motto is, listen with your full attention. Listen. Like Dory listened to that irate customer. Listen. Look for the good in others. Now, we tend to always complain about people. Look for the good in others. Have a sense of humor. Use that sense of humor. Share that sense of humor. And say thank you for a job well done. We live by this. We are going to create a better working environment. People want to work with you. You're going to be more successful. And as J.M. Smucker says, with a name like Smuckers, it must be good. Now, before I go tonight, I recently went to a speakers bureau, and they said, George, you've got a pretty good speech, but do you have a book? And I wanted to impress them. So I said, yeah, I've got a book. In fact, I've got several books at home. I've got the complete works of Shakespeare. They said, no, George. Have you written a book? You see, apparently you need to have a book published for credibility as a speaker these days. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to announce I have a book. It's called Take 2 Laughs and Call Me in the Morning. It's about the importance of laughter in life and how laughter reduces stress. I say that laughter is a wellness program everyone can afford. Isn't it? Everyone can afford to laugh. Now, I have a confession to make. I did not come up with the title, Take 2 Laughs and Call Me in the Morning. No, my publishers came up with that. I wanted to call it Laughter for Dummies. And they said, no, George, that sounds more like your autobiography. No one's going to buy that. So they came up with the Take 2 Laughs and Call Me in the Morning. Now, I agree with the Take 2 Laughs part. Yeah, but please don't call me in the morning. I became an after-dinner speaker. That's why I'm here tonight, not tomorrow morning. Because I like to sleep in. But actually, you can't call me anymore, because after this book came out, I got an obscene phone call. From a reader. Yeah, from a lady. Can you imagine the language that she used? The heavy breathing? Oh my, I was so shocked it took me 45 minutes to hang up. Now, it's only been out a short time, but I've already received hundreds of letters, and 2 letters from people I actually helped. 2 letters who read my book. One lady said, George, you're so right. It's the little things in life that create stress. I bought this table, she said. I paid over $1,000 for this beautiful oak table. They delivered it, and when they left, I put something on it, and it wobbled. I got so stressed out. Every time I put something on that table and it would wobble, I would get stressed out. I started to get stressed out just thinking about it. I bought your book. I brought it home. Put it right underneath that one leg. No more stress. Thank you, George. Another lady wrote me and said, I have been so stressed out, I can't sleep at night. I bought your book. I read just 1 page. Put me right to sleep. Thank you, George. The critics say that this is the type of book that once you put it down, you just can't pick up again. Now, you can't judge a book by its cover, although I like the cover. I created the cover. My picture's even on the cover. But you can't judge a book by this cover. I mean, after all, I would be happy to autograph this book for you for $15. $3? Well, you can't judge a book by its cover. It's not a bad cover, as I said. I just haven't quite finished writing the book yet. Oh, someone sounds disappointed. Well, guess what? I do have a book. It's called From Stand Up to Stand Out, How to Put Humor in Your Presentations. And it's from all those years that I learned backstage with my parents performing comedy. It's when I learned comedy, doing stand-up comedy, and all the entertainers that taught me how to do stand-up comedy. I put it in it, and just to prove there is writing in this book. It's in a workbook form. It's very simple and will help you if you want to incorporate humor into your presentations. And as I said, it's From Stand Up to Stand Out. And I'll be happy to sell a few of those outside after our presentation tonight. I just want to thank you very much for having me tonight. Enjoy your conference, and please, please, don't take yourself too seriously and share humor with everyone around you. You'll make a better world. Good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.